the European Parliament would block any Brexit deal that resulted in EU citizens living in Britain being deported when the UK leaves the EU, David Davis has been told. The Parliament's Brexit coordinator Guy Verhofstadt wrote to the UK's Brexit Secretary on Tuesday to warn that EU citizens in Britain should have exactly the same rights as they have today after the UK leaves. The body, which has a veto on the final Brexit deal, warned last week that the UK and EU were still far from a deal on EU citizens' rights. I have today confirmed in a new letter to David Davis what in our point of view are the 4 elements that are needed for a good arrangement on the citizens' rights for EU citizens and UK citizens, Mr. Verhofstadt told reporters at a press conference in Strasbourg. We cannot accept a system in which EU citizens who are currently residing in the UK or are mainly already permanently resident are at risk of being deported as a result of the process. That concerns, also, the more stringent criminality checks that are foreseen, more stringent than in EU law. Mr. Verhofstadt also reiterated the Parliament's red lines on EU citizens, that they should be given the right to family reunification, that their remaining in the UK should be by way of declaration rather than application, and that the process should be cost-free for them. The British government currently wants to charge EU citizens to apply for settled status after Brexit, and says this will cost no more than the price of a British passport. But Mr. Verhofstadt said this meant applications for larger families could run into the hundreds of pounds, which could become a problem for families with a low income. The rights of EU citizens is one of the 3 main separation issues yet to be agreed between Britain and the EU. The EU will not discuss trade or Britain's future relationship with the EU until EU citizens' rights, the divorce bill, and the issue of the Northern Ireland border are settled. European Union's chief Brexit negotiator, Michel Barnier, speaks to the media as he arrives at the Council of the European Union ahead of an EU Council meeting on April 29, 2017 in Brussels, Belgium. The 27 members of the European Union will meet in Brussels for a special European Council meeting to discuss the continuing Brexit negotiation. Getty French President Emmanuel Macron, at the Élysée Palace, in Paris. Getty German Chancellor Angela Merkel. Reuters Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker. EPA The European Parliament's chief Brexit negotiator Guy Verhofstadt gestures as he addresses a press conference with the European Parliament President after Britain initiated the process to leave the EU. Getty Britain's Prime Minister Theresa May stands on the flight deck and speaks to crew members of the 65,000-ton British aircraft carrier HMS Queen Elizabeth after it arrived at Portsmouth Naval Base, its new home port on August 16, 2017 in Portsmouth, England. The HMS Queen Elizabeth is the lead ship in the new Queen Elizabeth class of supercarriers. Weighing in at 65,000 tons, she is the largest warship deployed by the British Royal Navy.